Good morning. Welcome to Conversations Here and Now. My name is Naresh, and I'm looking at traffic tickets today. So if you got a traffic ticket, whether it be for stop sign, speeding, red light, cell phone, or maybe you were involved in a collision, motor vehicle collision, you may have gotten a ticket for stunt driving. All these fines, all these things are pretty serious, okay? So stay calm, don't panic, okay? When you get home, okay, read the front of the ticket, actually what the charge is, check dates, name, everything, okay? Read the back of the ticket. It gives you all your options, okay? You have 15 days to exercise 3 options. You have 3 options and you've got 15 days to exercise them. So, as I always say, please don't put blinders on and just put the ticket in a drawer somewhere and just say, hey, I'll deal with this later. Some people just don't want to look at it. They're upset about it, don't want to deal with it. Don't do that. 15 days goes by really quick. Okay? Whatever you do, when I give you the options, do it within the first 5 days. Okay? Because it gives you that little bit of buffer of the extra 10 days. Okay? So do it. The sooner you can do it, the better it is. So, option number 1. If you, in your heart, truly believe you're guilty, if you in your heart truly think, well, this is, I don't have the time to deal with this, I'm just going to pay this, okay? So the option 1 is plead guilty and pay the fine, okay? This is the simplest option, but it results in conviction and is considered an admission of guilt, okay? So what are the consequences of that? You must pay the full fine, okay? Including the court costs and a victim fine surcharge. Okay, so stop sign, it'll be $110 in total. Speeding fine, what the amount will be depends on the amount that you were speeding at. Red light will be $325. Okay, and careless driving, that's very high, 6 demerit points. I think cell phone is also 6 demerit points now. Very serious charges. So how to proceed? If you think you're guilty and if this is what you want to do, you've thought about it, then how to proceed? You can pay the fine online. Most people now, most tickets can now be paid online. You don't actually have to go in person into the courthouse, okay? Or if you do want to pay in person, you can go to the provincial offenses office that's listed at the back of the ticket. The address will be listed at the back of the ticket. But again, the easiest thing to do is just pay it online and get it done and over with, okay? Take your receipt, so you have the receipt with you to prove that you've paid the fine. Okay, and again, please don't leave it till the 13th or the 14th day. Just let it sit there and say, hey, listen, I will look after this. A lot of times people forget. Everybody has got busy lives. People forget about it, and then before you know it, that 15 days have gone by. And I'll talk about that after as well. What happens if you do forget? Option number 2 that you have is called an early resolution meeting with the prosecutor. Now, in your mind, you want to know what this is all about, what the charge is. Maybe, you want to talk to a prosecutor, okay? So that option is also on the back of the ticket, okay? So that allows you or a representative, if you choose to get a paralegal or a traffic ticket lawyer, so that allows you or that person to discuss the charge with a prosecutor. It is an opportunity to negotiate a resolution without going to trial. Now, what does that mean? So, pick that option, and you can do it online. You pick that option and you'll be sent a date, okay? So when you get that date, you show up at the courthouse, and you speak to the prosecutor, and you can explain to the prosecutor that you've never gotten a ticket before and you're really sorry. Listen, I'm really sorry this happened. I understand I've never had a ticket before, so if you can help me out, it would be, and maybe you have tough economic circumstances, maybe you don't have a job, or, you've got, kids at home, rent to pay, etc. You can explain all that to the prosecutor, and you can, show your remorse and that you did this and it'll never happen again. So if your record is clear, and even if it is not so clear, maybe you have a ticket from 4 or 5 years ago or something. Anyway, if you're fairly clear, then the prosecutor will consider lowering the charge possibly to a different charge. But however, if you go in there and start fighting with the prosecutor, don't expect that then. I'm being realist here. You're going in to talk to the prosecutor and express your remorse and the fact that you got this ticket, and you'll make sure this doesn't happen again. Okay, so they'll help you out. Okay, so the considerations are. But you got to remember, the prosecutor may offer to reduce the fine or even the charge itself in exchange for a guilty plea to a lesser offense. They can do that. The prosecutors have the power to do that. Okay, they can drop it down to a lower charge, so maybe there's less demerit points and the fine itself is less as well. Okay, so but however, even with a reduction, this still results in a conviction on your driving record and could affect your insurance rates. So you can request a meeting online, by mail, or by mail using the information on your ticket. Again, once you go, you get it done, then it's done and over with. Okay, then you plead guilty to a lower charge. Okay, so that's early resolution meeting with the prosecutor. Now we're on to option number 3, which is to request a trial. So let's say you've picked that trial from the back of the ticket, you've done it online, or you've mailed it in, or you've gone in person. Okay, this is a serious matter now that you're picking a trial. Okay, my suggestion to you would be to go and hire either a paralegal or a traffic ticket lawyer who can help you out with this. I would only suggest you proceed with it by yourself if you know the Ontario Highway Traffic Act really well, if you know court procedures really well. Just by Googling this stuff is not good enough. Yes, you can Google and maybe on YouTube or what have you, see how a trial is conducted, and if you can do it yourself. But if you're really serious about doing it and having a good chance in courtroom, I would suggest you get a paralegal or a traffic ticket lawyer. Okay, so once you pick that option, you'll need to get or the paralegal that you've picked, they'll get all the officer's note, or you can ask for that as well, because you have to look at, or the paralegal have to look over the notes of the officer and see what exactly is the evidence that the officer has. Okay, so you request that and you'll get that online or in mail, or you can pick it up in person. So when your court date arrives, you show up that morning, and you'll see that the courtroom has a line up outside it. So when your name is called, you go inside and you speak to the prosecutor. Now, at this time, you still have a chance. Okay, you still have a chance of, if you want, if you change your mind and say, let's see, maybe I can try and get it lowered a little bit. And if you don't want to go through the trial, or you can ask your paralegal, he will present that option to you, that he can talk to the prosecutor about lowering the charge and the fine. Okay, so if you go for that, and basically you'll go up to the prosecutor along with your paralegal, or if you're going to do it by yourself, then you'll go up there by yourself. Anyway, you speak to the prosecutor and explain to them your remorse about having had this happen. And if you have a clear driving record, then the prosecutor will know at that point that you have a clear driving record, or how many tickets you have, or what your driving record is like. So the prosecutor may decide to offer you a lower charge, which will be less demerit points, possibly no demerit points, and lesser fine. And if that's fine with you, then you accept that, then that's great. Then the prosecutor will tell you to go sit in the courtroom. So when your turn comes up during court, when your matter comes up, your name will be called. If you're alone, then you'll go up yourself. If you're with a paralegal, you'll both go up. Okay, so when you go up, the prosecutor will read out the new charge that you have agreed to, and the justice of the peace will ask you if you're doing that voluntarily, and that's when you say yes. And the justice of the peace will ask you if you understand everything that's going on, and of course you say yes. And then the justice of the peace will again ask you if you're okay with the fine, how much time do you need to pay the fine. Again, you can say maybe, I'm a student, or, whatever your financial circumstances are, and they'll give you a little bit of time, 60 days, 90 days to pay the fine, and then it's done and over with. Okay. Now, if you decide to go for a trial, again, if it's by yourself or if it's with your paralegal, both of you, let's say I'm going to pick the thing here that if it's a paralegal. Okay. So the officer will be there. And 99.9% of the time, the officers are there now, okay? They don't, a lot of people think, well, if I pick the trial and the officer doesn't show up, it gets thrown out. That's not how it is most cases now. If the officer is not able to show up for some reason, then, the trial is put forward to another date. Okay, so that usually doesn't happen anymore. Okay, so the officer is there. So the paralegal will get to ask the officer their evidence in the witness box. The paralegal will ask their questions. The prosecutor will ask his questions. Okay, the justice of the peace may ask the officer some questions. So the officer will give their side of the testimony. Then it's your turn. If you decide to go up, and you tell the paralegal ahead of time, so then the paralegal will put you in the witness box and you tell your side of the story. The justice of the peace may ask you some questions. The prosecutor will ask you some questions. And once all of that is done, the justice of the peace will look at the entire case, the entire evidence that they have in front of them, and they'll make a decision. Okay, if they find the officer's evidence credible, then a conviction will be registered against you. If they don't find the officer's testimonies credible for some reason, then a not guilty verdict will be put in for you, and then the ticket will be dismissed. Okay, so it's a bit of a process that you go through when you go to court. So it is really advisable, unless you know court matters, to hire. If that is in your belief you're not guilty, then I would highly advise you to hire a paralegal to look after when you request a trial. Okay, so again, I wanted to cover before what happens if you do nothing. Ignoring a traffic ticket is the worst option and should be avoided at all costs, because it sits there in your drawer for 3 or 4 months. An automatic conviction is registered. Court will enter a conviction against you in your absence. That escalates the penalties as well. This will result in additional fees that can lead to serious consequences, including driver's license suspension. Your driver's license can get suspended if you haven't paid your fine. It'll still register as guilty on your record. Your vehicle permit, you don't pay anymore. Your vehicle permit still has to be renewed every year, so that may not happen. And then the final thing that's the worst is the fine may be sent to a collection agency or a credit bureau for it to be collected, and those guys are not fun to deal with. So my suggestion is either you pick option 1, pay it. Pick option 2, go see a prosecutor and try to get it settled that way. If you want to request a trial, hire a paralegal, okay, and then deal with it from there on. And but please don't just put the ticket in a drawer and forget about it and see, oh, maybe it'll just go away. It will not go away. So those are the 3 options that you have. Make sure you exercise the right one that you feel comfortable with. Okay. If you have any questions at all, please leave it in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. If you like the video, please hit like. It doesn't cost you anything. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. And please share with your friends. They may find the information interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.